What is a good deal? I get that question all the time. People will ask me what constitutes a good deal. So a good deal is whatever that means to you. And it depends on your strategy as well. So a good deal could be defined differently if you're a buy and hold investor versus a flipper or developer. So generally for me, if I'm flipping or developing, I like, whether it's spec houses, commercial, multifamily, whatever, I like to have at least a 25 to 30% gross margin after all costs when I'm flipping, developing, whether it's buildings or land. That is a general rule of thumb guideline that I like to use for projects, is a minimum of 25 to 30%. Now, if it's a buy and hold situation, then it's all about cash on cash return. So even when you're developing, if you're building a spec house, if you're doing commercial, multifamily, whatever, your return is on the investment that you have, the money that you've put down. So that's what you base your return on, is your down payment. So whatever you have invested. So if you're flipping a house and you make $25,000 but you only put $5,000 into it, then your return is on that $5,000. If you're a buy and hold investor, it's all about return on what you have invested. So if you're putting money down, you're borrowing the rest. It's a cash on cash return on that money invested, and then it's a return on that cash over time as well with the IRR of that investment. So you have a monthly cash flow return on that, and then you might have a value add return down the road when you exit the property. If you exit, if you don't and you hold for long-term cycle, then your investment is just straight up cash on cash every year that you have in that. If it builds equity and there's value add and you refi and pull it out, then your return is infinite. So generally for a longer term hold, you're going to want to see a minimum of a 10% return on cash. Generally, in most other investment vehicles, you can generate in normal market circumstances around 10% return on cash invested in more long-term, more passive type investments. That's historically, the stock market has generally returned somewhere around there. The S&P, the indexes, things like that. So a good deal is whatever a good deal means to you. It's all about what kind of return do you want on that cash? What kind of return do you want on the risk that you're taking? The higher the risk, the higher the return. The lower the risk, the lower return. So it's really up to you, but those are some general rules of thumb. Most investors want to see an 8 to 10% cash on cash return for passive investments, if they can get that, and then more risk type investments, development, speculation, things like that, you're going to want to see a 25 to 30% margin on flips, spec development, commercial, multifamily development, or land development.